Good afternoon, family. I'm Curtis Cheatham Jr., and welcome to This Week in Black America. And here's a rundown of this past week's highlights. Former VP and presidential candidate Kamala Harris had decided she won't pursue the California gubernatorial nod, but what does that mean for her future plans? We'll get into that a little bit as we discuss it. Fed Chair Powell stood his ground against Trump's demands and chose to keep interest rates steady this week. We'll find out what that means. We now know that the mystery illness that has afflicted Colorado football coach Deion Sanders, and how will that affect his coaching career? So we'll take a look with that. Entertainment superstar Ciara is now a citizen of Benin. Is this the beginning of some sort of new trend we're going to see? We'll take a look at that and all the opportunities on the continent. And finally, Ryan Coogler has produced an eye-opening documentary about one of the darkest chapters for Blacks here in America. And we want to get into all of that, along with so much more on This Week in Black America. As always, I got my brother Deshaun here with me. How you doing this afternoon, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother. And it's been a week. There's been a lot of things that have happened this week, all different subjects we're going to discuss. Co-host, we're going to need you to, stay next to your keyboards. I unfollowed Cory Booker this week. I'm just tired. The Democrats don't sit up here and tell me you're trying, and then we can see you're not trying. So again, I got a lot of stuff I've been holding back and waiting for this show this week. We're here every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. And this is where we catch up on the week's happenings. If you're busy, if you couldn't really stay up to, you can't stay up to speed, this is where we come every Friday at 12 p.m. And we call you our co-host because you guys make the show interesting. We're here to talk about things, but you might have caught something we didn't catch. And again, nothing against my boy Cory Booker. I'm going to talk about it. I'm just up and down with him. You know what I mean? It seems like, guys, there's a steam train rolling. Texas redistricting, they're changing maps. Like, this is stuff we heard about. We believed it, but to witness it, y'all are changing maps right in front of us. Anyway, go ahead. So we so much more international news. God, we got a lot to talk about, Curtis. So cue us up, co-host. Get your keyboards ready because we are going to be on fire today. I see Benita already checking in. Curtis, where do we start, brother?
Well, you brought up Jasmine Crockett, and let's start there. Texas, big state, largest Black contingency in the U.S. as I believe, the number of Black Americans that live in the state of Texas, and they got some shenanigans going on down there. What district is she in? District 30, I believe it is in Texas, is the district that Jasmine Crockett represents. And the governor decided to do this whole redistricting thing. And they kind of leaked out a plan. But the fact of the matter is, like, the redistricted plan actually takes Jasmine Crockett out of where she lives. So she does not even actually live in the district that the re-gerrymandered district that they just made up, I guess is a better word. And they're really just trying to makes it so that all these Black folks in Texas are underrepresented, that they can't vote people that, look like them. And it's just craziness. Any thoughts? First of all, I mean, there's a lot more to say on that. Let me hear what you have to say first before I unload, I guess.
Well, when we're supposed to have two sides of government, two sides at least, and you see that there's a good amount of people who are not happy with the way the administration's running the country, and then you would think that this would, where's the power? Right. I mean, again, Cory Booker, let's just stay on him because I don't have a problem with Cory Booker personally. I have a problem with the power base that that there's only a couple people that are the power base of the Democratic Party. Jasmine Crockett, Cory Booker, this man Al Green. You got a couple of you got some congressional reps. I mean, the public faces that we've been seeing, especially black faces. Why do you keep losing? There's no one stopping these guys from doing what they want. They are exercising their will right in front of us. I really got upset with the big, beautiful bill because I think for a period of time, some of us, maybe some of you who are, extra woke, you didn't believe to begin with that there were, two sides of this power structure. You like, hey, you know what? They're cut from the same cloth. They're two sides of the same together. Some of y'all have been well aware and saying this for many years. But there are a few people who really thought that, you could put up a fight here. And what we're seeing is the fact that the Republican Party is doing anything they want to do and no one is stopping them. You make this big video, this stuff goes viral. Hey guys, watch this video. Look what they just did. Did y'all hear what they just did? What are you doing though? And the people, you can see in their comments, they're like, okay, what should we do? Because we're tired of you making these videos, making us aware of what the other side is doing. Look, y'all, hey, and this is what they just voted on. They wanted they voted to deport U.S. citizens. Can y'all believe that? What are we supposed to do? You are the elected representatives. You're the ones that people put in. What are y'all doing? They're not letting you go into public buildings. The lawmakers in Tennessee, the gentlemen, there's two guys in Tennessee that went viral last year, Pearson and Jones. You guys saw him. The young guy, one of them looks like he had, smooth hair, like two young brothers. Went viral maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, down in Tennessee.
Yep.
Now, these guys, they're not allowing them to go into Elon Musk's private.
Well, it was supposedly a state-run thing, but
go ahead, break
it had something to do with Tesla. And you're right; they wouldn't even let him in the building. Other elected officials who weren't invited were allowed to go in. They seem to have less melanin than him, and yeah, they kept stopping the guy from going into the program to represent his 75,000 people that elected him to do a job. So something that would absolutely directly impact his constituency, he's not allowed to go in there and speak on. Apparently because his tan was too good. I don't understand what's going on. But to your point, I think the Democrats are kind of confused because they are, it's like fighting somebody like in a street fight, and they're not fighting fair. They just and that's kind of what a street fight is. It's like, whatever's gonna go down is gonna go down.
Right.
And yet you fighting a street fight, somebody's fighting a street fight, and you want to stand up there and put your dukes up like the Marcus the Kingsbury rules or Queensberry rules. Okay, put them up, sir. And yeah,
just pick up some dirt and throw it in your eye.
Except this rock upside your head. That's what I'm gonna do. And so the Republicans are doing the street fighting, and the Democrats are just really being demure, and they want to do things by the book and the right way. The book is gone. The book has been shredded, torn up, and set afire. And we have to figure out now, Democrats, I am not a Democrat. I'm an unaffiliated voter. So
you oppose the current administration. So whatever side is against the current administration,
because I deal in right and wrong, not DNRs. The DNR thing has always confused me. Why, if we're in a country, why would you not just listen to the people who are running for office and see which one represents what you would like to see done? This goes back to this uninformed electorate and stuff that we've talked around about a little bit, is people are so lazy about the topics. Instead of going out and figuring out what would be in their best interest, we take the lazy way out and say, I'll just go D or because that's what I've always done, because that's what mom and dad did, whatever, because that's what all my friends do, without knowing that those people are doing things that are against your best interest. And we're seeing it happen in droves. People, now you've seen all these things on social media. Oh, I regret my vote. I'm sorry I did. Mm-hmm. When the man told you exactly what he was going to be doing and has done it. That's one thing you got to say for him. He has done exactly what he said he's going to do. And, you know, I don't know why people are shocked.
Where does that leave the people, Curtis? If we're watching this and we are, again, they're losing badly, bigly. You know, not that I like to quote President Trump, but the only way I could actually describe it is in a word he made up. They're losing bigly. We are doing everything we want to do, and you are not stopping us. We are going to redraw lines, and then now we have, we're going to do it too. Let's redraw lines in California. So now we're going to create individual states within states. We're going to have individual districts that are redrawn. What happens if we just keep redrawing all the maps? And now these are the Democratic states, and within the states, these are the Democratic districts, and these are the Republican districts. We can't see how that creates even more aspect for civil war.
Well, I've seen people on social media talking about that. Well, California ought to just do gerrymander their thing and get rid of all the Republicans and add however many seats that would add. You know, it's its game. And even the person that I heard talking about that on I guess Instagram or whatever was basically saying, I'm just trying to force us to look at this entire gerrymandering thing. But to your earlier point, maybe that's the kind of dirty tricks that we need to that the Democrats need to be involved in order to force some sort of real change, some sort of real structure, or some sort of real rules that they can put in place around this gerrymandering thing, because it's so obvious. And I just want to read a little bit about this. Thanks to our crack team for getting us getting this information out to us. But the map redraws the lines right, of course, before the 2026 election, forces Democrats into a tough spot because Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, which is Texas 30, she would find herself drawn out of her district that she currently represents. So she spoke out about this. She did a whole video online. She explains that she does not have to live in the district to run the district, but the makeup of the population is now changing because of the way they redistricted. Now, one thing we do want to make sure that we let everybody know, there is still an opportunity to speak out about this. In fact, it's today. So if you're in Texas, there's supposedly a 10-hour public hearing set for today in Austin, Texas, where you can share your views and make your voices heard about this whole redistricting debate.
Go make your voices heard, everybody.
I was getting ready to say,
go ahead, y'all. Go ahead.
You might as well just scream into the wind, frankly.
Go ahead out there, y'all. Make videos. They'll go viral. Look, y'all. Look, it's just, because now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, let's just really be real and understand that there's the secret. The people who run this government are actually in bed with one government, and the government that runs this nation is not in this country. And we continually see that's my problem with Cory Booker and these other people, because they're saying it for the people, yet they're secretly voting to continue to fund this foreign government that gives them all the money. This AIPAC, we're funding Israel, and you know, and what went viral. Just as we, you know, finish up this topic, what went viral to the point where we thought it was a new video was them welcoming Bibi Netanyahu into the congressional chamber with a standing ovation from both sides. Long-standing ovation. The guy couldn't even talk. He had to. You would think he was getting the humanitarian award of the. The humanitarian of the decade award. Where yes, the guy had to tell him, all right, y'all, settle things down. So we're on to you, and I think the people are just going to continually get more upset, because when the people feel like the people we elect and put in power have sold us out or turned on us, they're either going to leave, which I think is the better way to go. I would rather see you leave and be at peace somewhere else, or they're going to get very upset and it's going to start to do crazy things. And that's going to lead to violence, and that's going to lead to things that I don't think we're prepared to see. But I think it's coming, because you're not going to keep peeing on our head and telling us it's raining. Forgive the expression, but that's the only way. Like, that's an old expression, and every time I see these guys and it's going nowhere, show me one victory. Again, Curtis, this is all I got on this, but just show me one thing that they have fought for, won, they've stopped, because they created the awareness. You got all the awareness in the world with social media now. People are seeing your videos, seeing the messages. The people are engaging. They're coming out, protesting. No, we're not for this. And then 2 weeks later, well, Texas passes the redistricting. What? So do the people really have the power, or no, we don't actually have any power?
The sad thing is that as I go through these stories, and I keep repeating this because this is not a job I relish, because digging through this news and just knowing and being aware of what's going on around me, it is a deeply depressing type of activity. I'm just got to say it, because every time you look at a story, they give us more and more every time we look at a story, it's like they're telling you, we don't want you here. Everything, all their actions, we know a tree by the fruit that it bears. And we keep seeing over and over again that America keeps telling its black population, we'd rather you not be here. We'd rather not deal with you. We'd rather not have you around. And yet we continue to fight to stay in a place that doesn't seem to want us. So take that for what it is. Everybody has to move according to as their own conscience moves them. But the message seems to be clear. In fact, last week, right after we got off the air last week, another federal judge keeps blocking Trump's attempts to do this whole birthright citizenship thing. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but it's just keeping people aware of the fact that, this administration keeps trying to go at something that is constitutionally, basically, it already been settled, we thought. And so you can't put an executive order, you can't write an executive order to change something that's in the Constitution. And that's what we're seeing. These judges are basically keep saying is like, no, I know you signed that little piece of paper, but this big piece of paper called the Constitution already has it in there. And unless you want to go through Congress and do this the right way, to have Congress do, in fact, both houses of Congress would have to have, two-thirds majority. So over 60%.
So they have to actually amend the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Add an amendment to change it.
Correct. So his executive order can't override the Constitution. And that's what we keep seeing. I think the courts basically reaffirming that we understand you're the president, but the Constitution is the Constitution. And so another setback for the administration with regard to birthright citizenship. But I expect they're going to keep trying. That's just what they do. But let's move on, because there's a lot to get to today. One of my favorite, are you a college football fan at all? Or a football fan? I know you're a football fan. You were, at least.
I am not. Until Deion's son started playing and they went to Colorado, I really didn't watch. But it says a lot about Deion and his ability to draw an audience, because that was the first time I really started watching college football.
Well, listen, he's re-engaged me certainly in the college football thing, and I'm old enough to remember him prime time, because I was a Yankee fan, and he played baseball and football. He's one of those Bo Jackson athletes that did two sports. and he made a name for himself off being prime time. But I'm far more impressed with his second act of life, where he's gone and coached his kids. He's been coaching young men and really instilling in them the type of values that men should be raised with. A lot of these young men, unfortunately, don't have father figures, and he's kind of filled in the gap there. But it was sad to hear. I mean, there had been some rumblings because he had been a little distant. You know, he had been out of the spotlight for the last few months. But we just found out recently that he had a bladder cancer diagnosis. So prayers to him and his family. The good news, of course, is that he dealt with it. He had the operation. He did what he needed to do. His doctor proclaimed him being cancer free. Mm-hmm. So you know, we're God. All that.
Yep.
We're glad to hear that.
Yep. Definitely.
So he is planning to coach this year, but you know, it's tough to make light of this bladder cancer. So he was doing his press conference this week, and he was talking about the fact that he was going to have a a porta potty on the sideline, and really kind of making jokes about that he depends now. So you know, they actually took his bladder out from what I read, and just kind of finagled a new bladder out of his large intestines or something. Shout out to the medical side.
Medical provider.
You know,
boy,
they're doing all types of stuff. But boy. Yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's just shows the power of modern medicine. We're gonna give you a substitute bladder.
Absolutely. Now I don't know that it works the way the one God made, but
right.
You know,
good backup.
But hey, as long as he's still walking around, I guess that's good. And we're making light of it, as he has done, just kind of take away the heaviness of a diagnosis with the big C, as they call it sometimes. But we wish Deion Sanders the best. He has he's been on a trajectory for the last several years that a lot of America has been following him, especially our people have been following him, because he's just injected such energy, first into Jackson State, and bringing them back to prominence. Of course, then moving on to Colorado. Some people didn't like that move, you know, that he went from an HBCU to a PWI, or predominantly white institution. So there are people that didn't necessarily like that, but you can't argue with his results. He went up there. They moved to 9-4 or 9-4, I believe, from 4 and whatever they were the year before. So he's made progress. This is his third year, and this is the first year he's not coaching any of his sons. So that'll be interesting to see. But I just wanted to give our best to Neon, Deion, or Prime Time, whichever moniker you knew him by most. But any shout outs for Deion Sanders from you?
No, you did it well. You did it well. That's one of our icons. He's he's Black excellence as a father, as a man of God, just inspiring, continually positive. What he puts into his sons is incredible. What we see him producing in his next generation is phenomenal. And I think he's a father figure to a lot of men, and probably some women, but I know I can speak for the Black men and young men when I say that, you'll be on Deion's page depressed. Hey, let me go check in with you check in on Deion's page, you can't leave depressed. He gonna give you can't watch 3 videos before you like, you know what? I am somebody.
Absolutely. And we need that, and shout out to Deion just for shattering whatever myth it was about Black fatherhood, and we've talked around it and about it before. I personally do not know, nor do I associate with any man who is not a good father, who's not a great father, in fact. And that doesn't even mean I know people who are just co-parenting, who are no longer together, but the Black fathers are actively engaged and involved in their children's lives, and that's across the board. So I really have no relationship to this fallacy that Black fathers are somehow absent. Now, I know there are some, as I know there are some of the other folks whose fathers are absent as well. So
yep.
Shout out to Black fathers. That's all I had to say on that.
Yep, 100%.
And it's not even Father's Day.
Yeah, that's it. Coco Chanel Mia, good to see our new co-host checking in. She said Dion is inspirational on many fronts, specifically on the faith and spiritual fronts. Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
I always appreciate the fact that, I don't know him personally, but anybody that's calling on the name of the Lord constantly, I have to pay attention to that. And if their actions don't match up,
100%.
then that's a different subject. But
no, my daughter's big on that. My 14-year-old, daddy, it's amazing. These people do crazy things and then be like, but I'm a Christian. So go out, you murder somebody. Man, God will forgive me because I'm a Christian.
Listen,
shot 22 people, but I'm a Christian though.
Listen, it's like the rappers getting up there cussing up a storm. Oh, wait, giving all honor and glory to God first, and then
keep God first. Make sure y'all get that new album.
As I proceed to
Percocets and AKs.
As I proceed to give you a profanity-laced, violence-driven musical tour. Anyway.
All right, let's go. We already started with the foolishness, y'all.
We started a little early today, but I think that's just kind of weak. But anyway, speaking of, I don't even want to make that transition. Speaking of foolishness, yeah, I guess that's the only transition to make. So Trump decided this week, went over to Scotland, I believe, to play some golf, and in between rounds of golf, he extorted the European Union out of a 15% tariff deal. They struck up a deal, the European Union, which represents, I believe, 27 different European countries, the largest U.S. Trading partner, I believe now. And they established a 15% uniform tariff. There was a 30% tariff on the table at one point, and then I guess Trump had backed down to like 20. It's tough to follow because he says so much stuff. He just throws a lot of numbers out. He throws a lot of stuff out there. Some of it sticks, some of it doesn't. So it's always difficult to try and keep track of what the president has been saying about this. But this seemed to be, I don't know. Some people say it's the same deal we had before. Basically, France, and we'll get into that a little bit, they actually did criticize this deal, and they're part of it. So not everybody was happy, but we now have a 15% tariff on the European Union. So I guess Trump is making some deals. I think we talked last week about he made one with Japan, and now we got the European Union. Maybe he can get one with black folks in America. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Well, listen, that's what we're looking for. And from what I saw earlier in the week when the deal was made, there is very little in writing concerning this deal. And if you don't know, let's just catch you up real quick. We were supposed to have reciprocal tariffs hit. Let's call them April 9th. That's when he came out with that long list of countries, including some only occupied by penguins, that were supposedly overcharging us with tariffs. So we were going to do reciprocal tariffs on them. So fast forward, you had destable markets, you had stock portfolios dropping like crazy, people losing large percentages of their retirement. He puts off the tariffs for 90 days. That's then July 9th, they're supposed to kick in. So he kicks the can down the road a little longer. July 9th, he says, you know what? August 1st, That's it. I'm not changing. Okay. So now, prior to August 1st, you see a deal made with supposedly the EU. You see a deal made. I think they were in the talks. Maybe it was Korea or Japan or somewhere. But this one is the one that got all the headlines this week. And as you said, Curtis, France is not happy with it. And again, there's very little in writing concerning how we are going to move forward. As of right now, things that come from Europe are going to be 15% more expensive, most likely, because, that's the tax they got to pay at the port when they bring these things in. So, again, supposed to create manufacturing jobs here in America. Let's not forget that was the goal. But we haven't heard much about bringing those manufacturing jobs back here. So if you look at who's getting the tariffs, who gets that tax at the border? The Trump administration. We used to say the federal government, but we're not going to say that anymore, because that's back when the government got money. We felt like we all got money. Not today. This money goes to the Trump administration at the border. And I don't see this as a long lasting deal. Maybe it is, but it just doesn't seem to be. Curtis, what's to stop Trump 90 days from now from waking up and just changing his mind?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I had the picture. You remember there's like these cartoons that are going through my head where it's, you're taking in the money. One for me, and then you put 1, 2 for you. Or one for you, 1, 2 for me. One for you. And I can see Trump doing that. One for you. 1, 2 for me. Slide it in his right pocket. Anyway, that's just the image that's running through my head. So that ought to give you an idea of what's going on.
Perfect image.
Just another aside about France, because they've been in the news because there's some tension now between France and the U.S., not only because they've kind of criticized this newest trade deal, but the Miss Kiki had got me took me off course.
Which comment are you looking at from her? Because she's blasting. Welcome, Mrs. Kiki. It's good to have you in the chat. We love co-hosts like you. Shout out to and Get Black With Me has checked in, so it's good to see her. Coco Chanel Mia, very vocal. Listen, I told you, stay by your keyboard, y'all. We love to bring your stuff into the show. Which comment before you go to the next door?
I'm just the Mr. Littlehorn.
Some of you who familiar with the book of Daniel, you may know what she's saying when she says Mr. Littlehorn there.
Listen, there might be a double entendre there. We'll get to a little later when I talk about something later. Remind me to get back to that.
So funny, so funny that a Littlehorn is a Trump. That's so funny. I'm sorry. This is what you would call biblical comedy. Sorry. All right, go ahead, Curtis. Go ahead, Curtis. Go.
So France is little. I mean, the U.S. and France are a little tension going because the French also this last week made a statement that they were going to recognize Palestine as a state. Now, what's going on over there is just so depressing, and I purposefully didn't want to even go there because I fear what I'll say. And I just was looking at the news this week, watching the children starving in Gaza, and I mean literally seeing skin and bones. And I found myself saying this week. These are God's chosen people. This is how God's chosen people are treating other people. I might hear about that, but that's what the thought was in my mind. These are God's chosen people, and they are treating other people of God's creation like this. And it's just heartbreaking. I hope that better, that I just hope that those people that are dying out there from starvation get the food that they need. It's tragic, and it's horrible. I mean, I can't even think of the words and I'm a word guy. I can't even think of the words that won't get me in trouble to describe what I'm seeing here. And it's just a terrible human rights violation that we're seeing going on right now in Gaza. So prayers to those people who are impacted over there.
Let me let me just tap in with you on there too, because it is we had a couple Americans that were actually abducted this week by the Israeli army on their way to provide aid to people in Gaza. That's been going viral this week. So you may have seen people, including one black man that they said has been abused. They said when the Israeli forces got him, they choked him. They have abused him. So these were Americans coming by boat, and they left. They made many video messages basically saying, hey, if you're watching this, then that means we've been abducted by the Israeli army. And, and one of the gentlemen's last name Berger, he had a post saying that, again, if you're watching, he was one of the first ones I saw that, hey, we're a little while away from the border, and we think we're going to be abducted by the Israeli army. So they're coming and abducting Americans, bringing food to people in Gaza. We really, and the reason why, I mean, this is a touchy subject because we already know this is the shadow government of the world. There's no way these guys wouldn't be in jail. There's no way. Yeah, we know Netanyahu's a war criminal. Why isn't he in jail then? Like he travels.
Yep.
He travels. The guy doesn't stay in his country in a bunker where you can't come get him. Like, why isn't he in jail? So what we're seeing here in America, Curtis, where the shadow puppeteers have made it clear your government, I think it was the Rothschilds. Correct me if I'm wrong, co-host. Somebody pull it up, or that said, if I control a country's money, I control a country. And so the Rothschilds are one of the biggest funders of the Zionist movement and the creators of the state of Israel. There'd be no state of Israel without the Rothschilds. So when we look at the people who finance everything, this is, is this why? How do they have this much influence everywhere to the point where we can watch a guy like Netanyahu do what he's doing? And the international courts, because for those of you who may not be aware, there's courts on every level. That's why we have a United Nations, so when they say he's been found guilty of war crimes, that's a real charge. And that's why we heard Curtis, what's the gentleman's name who just got the Democratic election in New York?
Mandani.
Yeah, we just heard Mandani say, hey, they said, hey, would you welcome Netanyahu to New York? He said, no, we'd arrest him because he's been charged as a war criminal. So again, obviously, let me stop talking before This Week in Black America just gets cut. Think I've said enough. The algorithm is definitely buzzing. I'm sure I've set off a lot of different, if they got little code words that we're not supposed to say, I probably just said a lot of them. So I'm just going to move on. Curtis, anything you want to close out on that?
Our co-hosts are going in as well. But yeah, they might get us all cut off. But anyway. It is sad, and there are some people that are alluding to the fact that maybe these aren't the chosen people, but we will just go on and continue to pray for that area.
We're gonna talk about that at the close of the show.
Absolutely.
Last 5 minutes of the show. Those of y'all who saying that they're not the chosen people, we'll talk about that the last 5 minutes of the show. But Miss Kiki said yes, Chris. Ron T, good to see you, new co-host, and we saw you a couple weeks ago, but welcome back. Perhaps the Israel we know of today isn't the exact Israel the Bible speaks of. Ooh,
I want to get I want to get into that so badly, but let's go back. We're gonna wait. We're gonna say that
DC old fly. Israel is starving these people and lying about it. Plain and simple. Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
We can see you.
We can see you. We see you.
Anita, I was thinking the same thing. Get black with me. There is an active boycott going on. What boycott? Boycott? Talk to us. What? Because I listen, I want to spend less money. So is this a financial boycott? Or is this a boycott against a platform? Update us. Get black with me.
Hey, just to fill in the gaps here, the saying that you were reaching for earlier, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws, is often attributed to Mayer Rothschild, Amschel Rothschild, founder of the Rothschild banking dynasty.
There we go.
But now there is no real evidence that he actually said it. That's just been attributed to him. So
whatever they say, he said it.
They said he's. What do you mean? The timing? I don't know when.
Whatever they said, he said. He said
it. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. Makes sense because that's what we're seeing right now.
Federal Reserve. That's your Federal Reserve. That's your central banks of every nation. Every nation that has a central bank. That's why if you research any of the leaders who are against the central bank, they were not liked by a lot of people because a lot of people are in bed with the central banks. These are the people who run our banking systems. So any president that tried to take us away from the central bank was the true leaders of this country. Everybody who wanted to be in bed and have a central bank, they're sellouts, and they continue to sell us out to the people who run our finance system. That's all I got.
No, that's fine. We'll get back to the Fed chair talking about money in just a moment here. But unfortunately, there was a really sad situation that went on this week. I mean, we probably are kind of immune to it at this point, but it was local here in New York, in the New York area, which we're a part of. A gunman came in last week, and unfortunately, he shot like 5 people plus himself. 4 of them, I believe, ended up passing away. I gotta admit, when I was watching some of the information, you'll see the picture that's there. I was like, wait a second, that man he got melanin. We don't normally see, right?
Man, got an unpicked pro.
We see these mass shooters all the time, and most of the time they lack melanin. So whenever something like this happens, we as black people go through I hope he ain't black, and then doggone it, he's black. And but at least now they're not doing the same thing they normally do, which is start bringing up his high school pictures when he got suspended from 3rd grade and the time he got caught for smoking weed or whatever. They're going and leaning right into the mental health aspect of it. Supposedly he was mad at the NFL for not doing enough about CTE stuff. I don't know. It just seems a little weird. And of course, on social media, there's all the conspiracy theorists. Now, there is something, and I guess we have to delve into it a little bit further because we know about the.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking my pettiness out. If you don't know, that's the Super Mario Brothers theme because this has a little Luigi vibe to it.
I was getting ready to go there.
Go ahead.
No, I want the music to play now.
Black Luigi. Listen, talk about who, and the reason I'm saying that, Curtis, if the people don't know, break this down on who, unfortunately, God bless all the victims, for sure.
Right.
But one person, at least one person that was killed was somebody.
Right.
And so go ahead, continue. I just want
there are reports that one of the people that was killed was actually a CEO of a real estate company, basically Blackstone, they're calling it, that apparently is part of this the company that is buying up so much real estate, personal real estate, private real estate in the country. So we've got corporate entities owning, the places that you rent from. It's no longer like the mom and pop people that buy a house and are renting it out and, it's kind of make a little extra money. We have these corporate entities throwing huge amounts of money to acquire real estate assets, and then they're kind of hoarding them. So, people are raising the prices and pricing people out of markets and things like that. And so there is
for 15 years straight, 15 for almost 14, over 14 years since we came out of the recession. And
right.
Blackstone and State Street, this woman who was killed, again, God bless her soul, was the CEO of Blackstone's real estate division.
Right.
So she was in charge of thousands of acquisitions of single family homes that have resulted in the prices of homes for our generation and our future generations, our kids right now, being unaffordable, because you gave them unlimited money when we had super low interest rates. Really, the interest rates was zero. Right. Coming out of the Great Recession, they cut the interest rates to nothing. And then you had these Wall Street guys who had millions upon millions of dollars that they had to put to work, and they begin to compete against people like us, right, for single family homes. So when we're all looking to buy a home for $300,000 or $250,000, we're not competing against each other. We're not competing against those who make, this family makes $80,000 a year. This family makes $110,000 a year. We're not just even competing against cash buying investors. Cash buying investors, because I was in real estate for a couple years, cash buying investors still they can't pay too much, because they usually are borrowing that money and they need to have some type of return. But they made us compete against a corporation with hundreds of millions of dollars of no interest money, almost free, literally money that was less than a 1% interest rate that they could just put to work, and they begin to buy tens of thousands of single family homes, artificially driving up the value of single family homes, because demand and supply is what creates the market values. So if you have a lot of supply and low demand, the prices go down. If you have a lot of supply and high demand, okay, that's a nice mix. But if you have a limited supply and high demand, every single property that is available, we have Wall Street competing against us. This is what continued to drive these prices up for 14 years straight. And anyone who looked into this might be mad. So again, I don't know if he knew that. I don't know if he went in, right, but they said he was targeting the NFL floor. Yeah. Do we have any information on why he didn't reach the NFL floor, Curtis? Did that come out at all?
Well, they're just saying that he got on the wrong elevator, but that's what's leading to the speculation, is like, he got on the wrong elevator. He came all the way here from wherever, Nevada, and he got the wrong floor. And then there's the whole speculation about the whole notes that he supposedly left pointing to the NFL. As a black man in America, I'm always weary of anything they tell me, because I've lived long enough to live through the Tuskegee. Well, I didn't live through it. Well, actually I did. It didn't end until the 70s. The Tuskegee experiment, where, they're killing us with syphilis and all that sort of. So I don't always believe what the government says, because as our Native American brothers have often said in the past, white men speak with forked tongue. And yes, sometimes white man does speak with forked tongue. So anyway, that, rest in peace.
Last question, Curtis. How did the man get down the street with a gun that big? Because get black women down the street. Now,
see, that's the thing. Wait a second. Let's just stop and pause here for a second. A black man walking down the street in broad daylight with an assault-style weapon. Does that even sound like that could happen in America? Does that even sound like it's even possible in America? Because, I mean, listen, you could be walking down the street and spit gum on the sidewalk and some cop will take you out, because they that's just the mood they were in today. Now, the one thing I will say is New York City is a little different from, Main Street USA. New Yorkers don't often care about what's going on around them because they just keep that tunnel vision. I'm walking, I don't care what's going on. So, from that point of view, New Yorkers are a little different. So, yeah, so what? He's walking down the street with an M4, rifle. He's not even trying to hide it, right? He's not even putting it inside his jacket, nothing. He got it hanging out.
Yeah, brazen.
So,
with the shade, with the
New
neo
Yorkers are
shade
just different. They don't care.
Yep. So no,
as long as he ain't shooting at me, I guess they're good.
Right. We got a thing in the Northeast. That ain't my business. Jokers walking past. Exactly. My man got an assault rifle. Hey, that ain't my business. Mind your business.
That ain't my business. So anyway, keep an eye out for that. Just keep your ears to the ground about what's going on. Of course, we do mourn for those who lost life. Of course, the only one you heard about initially was the police officer. It was like there was nobody else that had ever been affected, and that's always interesting to me. Is that we seem to value the lives of police officers even more than the people that they are supposed to be protecting. So that's always been curious to me. But
welcome to America, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to America. Well, speaking of welcome to America, Ciara is now singing "Welcome to Benin." Welcome to Benin. So the singer Ciara, you recently accepted citizenship in Benin. It's part of the country's diaspora outreach, and we've seen it on several African countries have been doing this for the last few years now. Ghana, I know, Sierra Leone, Liberia. There are other, I think Namibia is making a push to kind of get people to get like joint citizenship between the African country and, the U.S., similar to what we see with those Jewish individuals who have joint citizenship in Israel and the U.S. So now we are starting to see a mechanism by which we can enjoy that same sort of dual citizenship and whatever benefits that offers. It's interesting with Benin, which I think I looked at my DNA test that my sister had done a few years ago, and I got like maybe 1% of Benin. I'm mostly Mali and Ghana, Cameroon, Congo. Those are the ones that mostly make up my heritage. I got 1% of Benin, and I guess that would be enough to get me joint citizenship there if I so chose. But I found it interesting that Spike Lee and his wife, I believe, I thought they had broken up, but they made those two kind of ambassadors to Benin. And I'm just curious if this is a reflection of their push, to sort of bring people back to the country of Benin, or to get them to accept citizenship in Benin. Any thoughts on, it is a kind of a trend that we're starting to see, and I love it. The fact that the diaspora, that the continent is reaching out again to the diaspora. And frankly, the diaspora is starting to show, that they want to get back to Africa as well. So we absolutely love the fact that people are enjoying this joint citizenship. Any thoughts on Ciara becoming a Benin citizen?
Well, you know who's from Benin, right?
Who?
The homie. I don't mean the homie. I don't mean the homie. This is the expression. Hey, listen, no, the homie tribe. So just so you know, just so we're aware, okay, there's a group of tribes that conspired with Europe to sell the other tribes on the continent of Africa.
You had to go and bring this up, didn't you?
Now, I told you before we started the show what time I was on, Curtis. There's a group of tribes. There's only about 12 of them. On the continent of Africa were dozens of tribes, if not hundreds. And only about 12 conspired with Europe to come get the others. One of the 12 was the Dahomey tribe, which is now Benin. So if there's anywhere that you kind of, you don't want, I'm not going to say you don't want to go. If you go to rep2025.org, we actually have all the tribes, all the African tribes that conspired with the enemies to sell our ancestors, rather.
Right.
Because if you're going to go anywhere, you want to be aware of these people because they might sell you again.
That's not funny.
Hey. If you haven't made a formal public repentance, come on back in is not a formal public repentance. When things start to get hot and heavy again, hey, we got a couple of these Americans over here. So we got to be very aware. Ghana, the Ashanti tribe is over in Ghana. You have to make a public declaration, in my opinion, before I'm coming into your land as a citizen. I might visit. But when you're saying, hey, come on, you're a citizen, come on here. Listen, again, all right, just know your history. Know the history. It's only about 12 of them. So when you hear that, Africans sold other Africans, only about 12 tribes conspired to sell the rest of the tribe. And it's important we know who those 12 tribes are because they need to be publicly speaking out and repenting and making sure this is not going to happen again. Leopard don't change its spots. So congratulations, Ciara.
She and Russ might be getting sold back, is what you're trying to say? Anyway, I
hope it doesn't happen. I just want my people to be aware. That's all.
That is a really to be serious for a moment. That's a real nuanced conversation because they and I believe there was actually a component. I don't know whether they would call it repentance or not, but they did acknowledge their role in the slave trade, from what I understand from what I was reading. So, it's good for us to all know what's happening. Go into it with your eyes wide open. But there are several countries that are trying to reach out to the diaspora. So,
all I'm saying is, Curtis, I get that. But if you're living in the house with me, and then I have people come get you. Next thing you know, they ripping you out there. Hey, I'm watching it. Hey, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
Is it just as simple as, all right, come on back in the house, Curtis. Come on back. No, not to me. So again, I get that we're acknowledging, I did call those people on you.
Yeah. And then as you were talking, I was thinking that the fact that I only do have about 1% of Beninian, I don't even know if that's the proper way to say that. If I have only 1% of Beninian blood in my me, then that might make me a target. Like, oh yeah, listen, you ain't got enough Benin blood. Yeah.
That's why you better do your DNA test before you go back. If you go back and you're like, hey, I'm 50% Beninian, okay, Beninian, that might be incorrect. Forgive us.
That may be.
That's different. But, you go back by DNA. Because if you go to Mali, you with your people. You with your DNA. If I go to Nigeria, I'm with my DNA. I go to Cameroon, I'm with my DNA. But if I'm not there based on DNA, then I'm there among people who are not my tribe. And so anyway, congratulations, Ciara. Go ahead.
No, I was going back to some stuff that we had done with Hello Black America, and eating children and stuff. That we had talked about that.
Everybody's not from the same tribe.
Yeah.
We start to think because we're all black, we're all from the same tribe. We are not.
and that's important, and that's an important piece of nuance, because we do all come from different tribes. And the point that you did make when we did the show about this is that, you got to be careful, because you trying to coalesce with people who are descendants of.
You think they just started cutting chicken? You think they just started cutting chicken heads off?
Oh my goodness! Not cutting chicken heads.
No, I'm just saying this is old. They were doing this back then, cutting the chicken heads off and pouring the blood out. And we look at it now. Hey, hold on, y'all a little different. They was different when we was on the continent.
Absolutely. And,
we black though. Come on, we black. We should all be doing this together.
We should all be together. No, maybe we shouldn't. Not everybody's gonna be free. Let me just put that out there. And moving on.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you move on, Curtis. Go ahead, because I know you keep trying, and I keep just reeling you back. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm all for it. I'm with the foolishness. I really am. So, especially on a Friday afternoon, what the heck? But now, speaking of foolishness, again, Meraki number 8 there, the couple. Did you see this on social media? It's been all over social media the last few days. Apparently, a gentleman, I'm not quite sure what he was doing, but I believe it was in Florida. And the guy, I guess he worked for one of the energy companies, and there's some sort of transformation of energy companies maybe in the area. And the guy, a melanated gentleman, was going door to door. And apparently, the wife answered the door, and he went on, maybe he went starting his spiel. And next thing you know, the husband and the wife are just going in on this black man. And, he pulled his phone out and recorded the whole thing. And I know, Meraki, you probably got that up there now.
Shout out to the world's best media team in the background, Meraki Media. We can't do this without Meraki and Mickey.
This dude that you see walking right now is sitting there, and he threatened more than once to hang this man if he comes back. Come back again, and I'm going to hang you, N-word. Thank God this never happened to me, or has not happened to me, because I don't know that I would have handled it as well as this man did. The amount of self-control that it took for him to just walk away with his camera, documenting what abuse was being spewed at him. But I put it on my page during the week. This is the post-racial America that you guys are talking about, huh? And the fact of the matter is that in America, we had this reaction to the election of Barack Obama, which is probably a direct reason we are where we are today. Or at least a very definitive reason why, is the backlash about a black man running this country. And yet now, and then people talking about some sort of post-racial society. And now what we're seeing is, no, it was just hidden away. And now Trump has emboldened the racist roaches to come out. He turned the light off and allowed the racist roaches to come out and just permeate. And that's what we're seeing in this country. And it's sad that these people are so hateful. These people are so hateful. And
do we have volume on that clip?
Oh, Meraki is a genius. I know we can get to him.
Do we got volume on that clip? Let's see if we can let y'all hear a little bit. I don't know if we got volume on it. Hang on. If not, we're playing it in the background, but let's see. Because even, Curtis, as you described the visceral hate coming out of this man and woman's mouth, until you hear it for yourself, it's tough to actually. If not, then you can pull it up. This is in Florida. This is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Right. Why do black people still live in Florida? All right. Why
pay taxes? I don't know.
Possibly the income tax. But when you look at the hate, as you said, something very specific, two things. The N-word comes out of his mouth, and he says, if you come back again, I am going to hang you.
He said it more than once.
More than once. And you know you're being recorded. So it's
they don't care.
That's the whole thing. It's like you said, Curtis, the battery's in the back because you got somebody in the office who gave you the battery. He just put out all, everybody got a battery in their back now. Now, in all fairness, I mean, shout out to the black people who just have I mean, I feel like maybe the last 4 years has done us very well. We've been in therapy. We've been really learning how to channel our anger a whole lot better. I think that whole mental health movement that happened in the last 6 years was really, really good for white people, because for sure, this brother could turn around and knock this dude smooth out immediately. But the amount of self-control that he has, and I've seen this a lot. There's only a few people that we see that are like engaging, and I mean engaging like, all right, I'm just gonna knock you out. But like to have somebody talking to you like this and to be able to restrain yourself, it just takes an incredible amount of self-control. Incredible amount. That I don't even know if I'd have it in that situation. I have to be friend. Lord, keep me. Because I'm going, Lord.
I'm just so grateful that the Lord has kept me out of that situation, because I don't know that I have that level of self-control. It might have been a whole different thing. It could have been me swinging on old boy or him swinging on me and getting knocked out. Who knows? But I'm grateful for that man and the self-control. Now, I want to juxtapose this to, I don't know if you know this guy's name. I think I mentioned to him before, Hawk Newsom. Follow him on Instagram. I think he's actually one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter in New York. He's always posting this thing called "Leave Black Folks Alone," and his clips are more like when the 25-20 people start coming at him or coming at somebody, and then next thing you notice, they cut to a picture of them laying on the ground, or they got smooth knocked out, and those are my favorite.
Those are hey, listen, I love to see it. Like the before and after. It's like instant FAFO, instant. Everybody's not there. Listen, bro. Look, everybody is not on that Martin Luther King move.
We got some Malcolm X's out there. Let me just tell you.
You think you running into Martin? No, that's a Malcolm, bro.
You thought that the M stood for Martin. No, the M stood for Malcolm.
What happened to the nonviolence?
Listen, we don't believe
I could talk to y'all any way I wanted to, and y'all were just gonna do the nonviolence. Nope, you done ran up on the wrong one. I ain't been in church in 8 years, brother. Wow. But go ahead.
Anyway. Speaking of pettiness, my transitions need some work, I admittedly, but this is just real brief. Last week we talked about the Fed chair Powell, and we talked about DJT making a surprise trip to the Fed where they were doing construction last week, and he was talking about the overruns, and the Fed chair basically, nah, bro, you got the wrong information. That included a building that was done 5 years ago. And he stood his ground there. And then somebody asked Trump what he would want from Powell to kind of get him off his back. And he said, well, he could lower interest rates. Well, Powell just kind of laughed it off. And this week we find out that the Fed actually did hold the line on interest rates. I don't claim to understand, although I was a business major. I didn't always pay attention in economics class, I guess. Dr. Senha, sorry for that. But anyway, he's keeping the rates down because it's from what I understand, it's just a more conservative approach to just rather than just dropping the interest rate to zero, like we were talking about earlier, where the age of easy money, where people were, the banks were and these big companies were getting rich off the fact that the interest rates were so low. And Trump's kind of, I think, reproduced that by getting the Fed to drop interest rates even lower. But that's the point. They're an independent group. That's what they do. That's what they're charged with, is making sure that, the money stays even, it doesn't cause inflation, that there's no, deflation, all those different economic terms. So I probably should defer to you on this one. Actually,
sure.
Any thoughts on the Fed chair holding the ground against the administration?
Yeah, it's a wise decision, in my opinion. Chairman Powell Jerome Powell is, an astute businessman, and he's looking at he's not manipulated by President Trump, which is what I like. The only time he was manipulated publicly was in 2017, shortly after he was appointed by then President Trump, because he started to raise the rates then to control inflation.
Right.
Now, he saw a problem back then, and that's why I think he could be holding so firm today, because back then the prices were
shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Come on. So back then he knew that we needed to raise the rates, because as you raise the rates, it slows down spending, and it will, if the prices are continuing to go up and up and up, it'll start to stabilize the pricing. Now, Get Black With Me made a wonderful comment. Trump wants broke people borrowing money. Interest rates affect so much in our country, from huge money deals to us buying houses and cars. And when they lower rates, people, especially some that don't have a good amount of financial, let's call it discipline, they will go out and they're going to borrow, because money's easy to get and it's cheap. So what Powell is continuing to say that he wants to see is 2% inflation. So he wants to see prices continually come down. And also Trump's to blame with the instability, because they're not able to see how are the tariffs going to affect the economy. This is all stuff that Powell said we only get to move one lever. That's all we get to move. We don't get to move all of this stuff, but we have to move this lever wisely, because, and here's a big issue, I want everybody to really keep this in the back of your mind. If they lower rates and people go out and start spending, prices are already high. So if prices of cars are high, prices of houses are high, then if they lower rates, you're going to see prices go even higher. And that's what he was trying to control, in my opinion, in 2017. Watch The Age of Easy Money. Incredible documentary. And it showed how you'll see him come out and say, and even the economists back then said, if we don't raise interest rates, we are going to have an affordability problem in a couple years. And lo and behold, they started to raise rates right before the pandemic, got hit with the pandemic, had to keep rates low again for the pandemic. And then we end up with hyperinflation and unaffordable homes and cars and all these goods. So Powell is disciplined. I love the fact he's not manipulated. And it's going to take a huge movement of something to get him to lower rates. And, and I like that. I like that.
Absolutely. That if you're going to go watch The Age of Easy Money, you may want to go get it now, because that was a PBS publication. And we just saw this week, PBS and NPR, the public radio, the administration figured out a way to claw back $9 million in funding, I believe it was, for PBS and NPR. So, if you want to get some information that's objective and good journalism, you may want to download the PBS stuff quickly, because I don't know, maybe it's going to start disappearing. I suspect that the public will respond, though. I hope so, to fill in the gap. PBS always has those things running where you can support the channel anyway. So hopefully we'll see some of that, because people don't understand how important an objective press is for democracy. They don't understand, because we don't teach civics and history any longer. They don't understand the part that the press has played in making advances politically through the years. And so that's something we should definitely be aware of. Seek out news that is objective. Amen. And that is real journalism, not the stuff that we see on some of the channels out there.
While it still exists in this country.
Exactly. While it still exists. And there are newspapers and news outlets outside of the U.S. that cover news within the U.S. even better than the U.S. papers. So Don't constrain yourself just to the American journalists. There are all types of journalists throughout the world who are covering these sort of things. So let's skip over to our former vice president and presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, ran for the presidency this last election cycle, of course, and unfortunately, she did not prevail. Now we're at the point where we've kind of stayed away from it, but we are at the point where there's gathering information, further information. It's actually a real lawsuit in the state of New York contending that there's some malfeasance going on with the election. And I know we've kind of talked around it a little bit. The excitement around Kamala Harris once she took over for Biden, and then the excitement that we saw, and the amount of people we saw at the election, and then the disappointment when we realized that she didn't prevail, and people was kind of even then saying, "Well, wait a second, something ain't right." And now we're seeing, votes where Democrats got a bunch of votes below her, and she got 0 votes. It doesn't make sense. How, Sway? So that's actually the foundation for an actual lawsuit going on in the state of New York, even right now. But I digress. She this week came out, they were talking about what she was going to do with her political future. And there was a lot of speculation that she'd run for the governorship of the state of California, where she is a resident and has served the state. But she confirmed that she will not run for the governor, the gubernatorial nod in the state of California next year. And I guess that's obviously going to open up speculation about what she's going to do next. And people are starting to speculate that maybe this is going to open the way for her to run for president again in 2028. Now, that's assuming that there isn't even an election in 2028, but I won't go there necessarily.
Yep.
But I don't think, I think that ship has sailed. I don't know. I thought she was a decent candidate. She was an okay candidate. Not great. I don't know that she's gonna, I don't know if we can get the excitement back again, for her to run for president.
I don't get it. Help me understand this. I just don't get it. If we can play clips of her saying that President Trump was going to do the things that he says that we see him doing, and she rallied all of this excitement in 107 days. That's the name of her book, by the way, 107 days. That's it's just been released. Why the sudden, who else? Barack Obama's not running. Michelle Obama's not running. Who else would be the candidate?
Well, they got Gavin Newsom, the current governor of California, who's gotten a lot of speculation. There is, of course, the outside chance that the governor of the state of Maryland, Wes Moore, has national aspirations. I don't know if they're ready for another black president. You don't know Wes Moore. You got to get up on Wes Moore.
This is the same guy that voted against the reparations, right?
Yes, but
okay. So he ain't gonna get the black vote.
No. Let's be clear.
Right,
what he voted against, what he vetoed, was studying reparations again, and he is actually in favor of reparations, but The bill that came before him was a bill to further study reparations. And he basically said, we didn't studied it enough. We need to figure out something to do. So let's be clear that, and that's the narrative that people want to try and push, is that the black guy vetoed reparations. No, the black guy vetoed y'all doing another study and spending 10 years studying a problem that we already know the answer to. And why don't we just do something? Get Black with Me said he's all talk. Listen, that's what a job of a politician in part is. But he's clearly on our side. But we'll see.
Wait, clearly?
You know? Listen.
When I pull up his name and I just put Westmore reparations, Maryland Governor Westmore vetoed slavery reparations. Announced Friday he will veto a measure to create a commission to study potential slavery reparations. The H.R. 40, for those of you who are not aware, the H.R. 40 was the bill that they were trying to get passed to for a formal study of reparations. So that it never made it to the next stage. So if it never made it to the next stage, we shoot it while it's still in the, like, because now your name is just stamped. Okay, like your name is stamped on, you just vetoed a bill that would have studied reparations. And I get it that, hey, well, we've been studying it, but why is the only thing that I can find of you from May, if I put your name, reparations, the only thing I can find of you is the veto of the bill from 4 months ago, or almost 4 months ago. Why don't I see any? Well, Westmore, in the wake of the public thinking he was against reparations, he's started spearheading a movement to actually create a new bill. It's like we said no to this HR 40, and then we have not put the same energy into talking about a replacement, or, hey, this is my solution on how we get reparations. So, and again, I had somebody call me about Westmore 2 days ago. And when they called me, they were kind of like, hey, you got to look at this guy. And that's the only reason I really know him. But again, we're still on the topic of who the Democratic presidential candidate could be if it's not going to be Kamala Harris. But what do you know? Maybe you know.
The sad thing is, I was reading some stuff just yesterday where they're doing hypothetical polls on Obama running again versus Donald Trump. And the sad thing is out of all the people that they put up against him, you know, they did a kind of a different scenarios they played out apparently through this survey. And they, you know, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama. Barack Obama was the only one that would beat Trump, according to these polls, even today. And they said he would beat him handily, like by double digits.
No doubt. I agree.
And I agree. And not to say Barry was the best president ever, but he was a presidential president. You know, he stood there, and you had confidence in him, at least that he was presidential. You know, he did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't acting all crazy, no controversies, you know, other than the tan suit. If you
right, that's right. Smoking the cigarette.
Yeah.
You know, Michelle is in the best shape of her life, teaching our kids how to eat healthy. Yeah. You know, you know, she really owned that spot of, but just in practical terms, you know, President Obama saved the industry I was in, an auto industry. When I came in 2008, auto industry was crashing. Dealerships were closing. I worked for General Motors at the time. There are a lot of GM dealers that didn't make it. We lost Pontiac at the time. He saved the economy with that deal. So he came in and inherited the worst economy since the Great Depression. And literally, I just want you to think back to how life was in 2011, 12, 13. Things were affordable. Homes were affordable. There were jobs. Everything was, you had the whole thing over in the Middle East, but I think that's more Congress than President Obama. I think that's the same way we got Netanyahu now, who is the puppet master. He was back then pulling strings, and it's like, hey, but I don't really want to do that. Hey, all right, whatever. But when I look at my life from 2012, 13, 14, it was a whole lot simpler than it is today. Whole lot simpler. I mean, it's so much. I wouldn't have had to worry about my kids. Like, hey, I don't really want to live here, Daddy, because I need to make $300,000 to be able to to live comfortably.
Listen, I will say this: the one criticism, well, there's probably more than one criticism, but one criticism for Obama during that time was he bailed everybody except the people out. You know, we had the people that were victims of this mortgage crisis in 2008 who didn't get bailed out. He bailed out the big companies, he bailed out the auto industry, the banking industry, etc., but he didn't bail out the American people. And that's the one thing that I think he could have done differently, or maybe should have done differently. He should have paid attention to the middle class and bailing out. But you know, we won't see him again as president unless the rules change. And so if it does, I'll cast a vote for Barry again. I'm okay. I personally don't think his wife is ever going to let him run for president again. No. Even if they did change constitutionally, I think he'd be getting a divorce if he said to Michelle, "Yeah, let's run it back, babe. Let's run it back, boo."
No.
Yeah.
Michelle's not having it.
No, she is not having it.
No.
So anyway, let's finish up on Kamala. You already mentioned it, so there's really not much to talk about. So she is going to be writing a book, releasing a book. I guess she's already released it. You know, she got to make a living, I guess. And a memoir describing her 107 days. It might be interesting. I don't know if I'll go out and buy it. Maybe I'll get the audio book. But yeah. So that's what's going on with the former vice president and presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. Now, we're starting to get into a little bit of the section of the show where it usually devolves into some foolishness. And I'm with it because we need it. We need to laugh a little bit.
We
right?
started a little early, but yeah, I'm happy that
we did start earlier, but that's okay. And the reason that we might want to laugh, and I shouldn't say that because you never want to look with pleasure on someone else's kind of downfall, and
laugh at others' pain.
Right. And that, that's a biblical concept, and I try and follow the Bible. So, Shannon Sharpe.
Now, it said don't laugh at their pain. It didn't say don't laugh at their stupid decisions.
Listen.
Go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
You got to laugh at this because it is so. Now juxtapose this with the gentleman that we talked about in who filmed the 2520 people yelling at him, threatening to hang him, and the type of self-control that black man exercised, and compare it to the lack of self-control that this man, Shannon Sharpe, exercised over his own body. And not only that, but he chose somebody. I find it difficult to even get through this story. He's a 57 years old?
Something like that.
He's in his mid to late 50s now. And he's carrying on with a 20-year-old.
That's bad enough. That's bad enough.
We could stop there. It's legal. Barely. It is legal. So, but the term unequally yoked comes to my mind. What does a 57-year-old, 58-year-old man and a 20-year-old, what do you even talk about? What do you even have a conversation about? A 20-year-old is more than likely has their phone in their hand most of the time, scrolling, doing whatever they're doing. And you would think a 57-year-old who's had an accomplished career would have building a media empire.
Himself. Yep. Building Absolutely. A media empire. Yep. Got 2 jobs,
and
3
had
jobs.
A formidable career in the NFL. And now this woman who sues him over some workplace misconduct allegations for $50 million. Now, just to put it in perspective, he was a NFL player. He never even made $50 million in his NFL career. So she sues him for $50 million, more than his lifetime earnings in the NFL. And they just recently reached an undisclosed settlement. So I don't know. What do you think?
She also announced her retirement. She announced her retirement from OnlyFans.
From OnlyFans. Yeah. She closed her OnlyFans. She's like, I got the loot. I got the bag. Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
So whatever the settlement was, it was enough for her to retire from her very successful. Because I would think if you hooked somebody like Shannon Sharp, you're probably doing okay on OnlyFans. I don't think you're one of those, hey, I made $1,800 this month. You're probably
making money.
You're probably doing some numbers. But
you think
again,
what you think 10, 15 million he ended up breaking her off? Maybe $20 million? You think so?
It's gotta be.
That's a lot.
It's gotta be something significant because originally he had offered her what, 10 million, and they said no.
Yeah.
Going back to the start of this, and this is a lesson. We have to be wiser. And again, you queued it up perfectly with our brother that was just filming the people. The amount of self-control and self-restraint he was able to exercise just shows that you can get there. You can control yourself and your urges when you go down the road. And what's so funny is you had publicly the prophet Sir Cat Williams warn you publicly. Biggest interview ever. There's no bigger interview. God sent you the messenger. And you sitting up there like, oh, come on, Cat. What you talking about? Listen, I'm scared of white women. They'll ruin you. He said, look, you could be on top of the world and they will ruin you in 2 weekends. He telling them. Shannon over there like, oh, come on, Cat. Come on, Cat. You listen. And we've seen the downfall. So it's not even the fact that he made these terrible decisions right in front of us. Listen, hey, look. Sometimes when God sends you the first messenger, you don't listen. He sends you another one. So here comes Aunt Monique on the couch.
That's right.
Here comes Aunt Monique because that's how much God cared about Shannon. When God said, you know what, man? Hey, listen, God talking to the angels out there. He ain't getting it. All right, send somebody else with the same message. Monique said, hey, Shannon, you need to get rid of these young boys. I need them. And that's all right. You got to just wash your hands from this brother. This brother got to lay in the bed.
I love the creation that God put on this earth of women. I appreciate their what they bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I have never met a woman that I thought being with if it was going to cost me 7 figures plus. I'd say this another way if we weren't on the air, but I've never seen anybody I've never saw a woman that I thought was worth $10-20 million that I had to pay because of no.
And he blew the contract, so he gets fired from ESPN. There was the projections where he was going to get a $100 million contract. And if you look up Stephen A. Smith's contract, you will know that, as popular a voice as Stephen A. Smith is, he would probably say it's only one guy in sports media that could really compete with me and maybe better than me, maybe worth more money than me, and that's Shannon Sharp. So to whatever you look at, Stephen A. got paid, Shannon Sharp would have got paid. So he loses. He loses not just the The if and some reports are saying 15 to 20 million that he settled for, because he offered 10 million, they said no, and then they sued him for 50 million. So they're not going to just go back and take the original 10 or less than that you offered them 6-7 months ago. So reports are saying he settled for somewhere between 50 and 25 million. So one article said 23, but it was significant. So he loses that, and he loses the contract that he would have gotten. So they're saying this is a $120 million loss for Shannon Sharpe.
Mrs. Kiki, big old dummy. All I heard was Fred Sanford. You old dummy. That's what I heard in my head. Yeah, big old dummy.
Fumbled the bag. You fumbled everything, brother. That ain't even a bag. You fumbled the whole house, the future, the next.
Oh my!
And I know you can make money because you got an empire, but boy, Lord, oh Lord. So
listen, was it worth it? That's all I want to know.
Right.
And,
that's right.
Listen,
ain't nothing worth that, boy.
Listen. He probably should have stayed with. Anyway, maybe next time get somebody with some melon, and that's all. That's my advice to you, brother.
Come on,
and maybe somebody that's on the same intellectual level. Well, maybe he's proven that he actually was on. Maybe they are on the same intellectual level. But I digress. Anyway, let's see. Couple more things we want to get to, and there's still. Oh my goodness. I'm going to defer to you on this one. There's a Harvard professor that had been, and it's kind of a strange transition when talking about Shannon to go to kind of maybe a serious subject. There's a comet that's been identified that's out in space someplace, and there's a Harvard professor. Most of the people that have seen this comet are basically saying that it's a comet. It's a natural occurring thing. But this Harvard professor has kind of put it out there that this comet is moving as if it has some sort of intelligence, as if it's being driven or maneuvered through space and not acting as a true comet would. Now they're saying that it's too far away at this point to really to definitively say, whether it is some sort of alien probe or ship or something along those lines. But the fact that a Harvard professor is saying it probably leads to some level of gravitas, right? Because Harvard professors are known to be kind of the creme de la creme as far as America intellectual studies are concerned. So any thoughts on that? I mean, I don't know how much we can really say because listen, we got to wait to see what happens. But even the fact that a person with the status of a Harvard professor is even lending credence to this probably should make us at least pay attention, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to get on this and get on. I'm going to get in, get out.
Okay.
This is the confirmation of the things that the scripture said is coming. The things that are about to hit this nation and the earth are going to show us that there is absolutely a force that is angry with the earth. And when we look at this comet or what they say is a comet, I don't think it is. It's headed towards us. Mm-hmm. And when it comes into the atmosphere, we're going to see things very shortly. Some of them you're going to see this weekend that it's going to seem like it just, if there is a man in the sky, he don't seem like he's too happy right now. And that's what you're going to see. You're going to continue to see these things. And they might chalk them up to aliens and climate control and all that, climate change and all of that. But again, I'm telling you, so you can remember, hey, one person told me that this was written about in the scriptures and that, hey, the scriptures that says there's asteroids that's going to come when the Father comes and judges this nation and he comes and he's going to send his son to reign in Mount Zion in Judea in a couple years. govern this earth with righteousness. But before he starts his government, he deals out wrath to all the people who spoke very proud words against him. And so these things are going to hit very hard. This is one of them. And I think you're just going to continually see things that will reinforce what I'm telling you. That's it.
Well, then this is one of those things we're just going to have to watch and wait. Of course, we always suggest and recommend prayer, of course, and asking for God's wisdom in all things, frankly. So that's something you just want to be aware of. Moving on.
And let me look. The person said that he doesn't believe it's a comet because he won't know it's a comet until they see it closer, until they see if it has a tail. So all of these people who are saying things that are they're trying to, I guess, not worry the people because there's something on its way to the Earth's atmosphere. And they're like, hey, well, let's just say this so the people don't get worried. But this is one of the only scientists that are saying, well, what y'all are saying I don't think I don't agree with y'all. I don't think you can make that determination because we don't see a tail. So again, just pray and watch some more. So,
all right. Well, speaking of not having a tail, did you see the American Eagle commercial with Sydney Sweeney this last week? So there was some controversy online this week.
Curtis is doing great with the transitions today. You talking, bro? Go ahead, go.
Meraki, this only works if they can see the video. They have to be able to see the video. So let's cue up the American Eagle did an jeans ad that was reminiscent of, for those of you old enough to remember, the Calvin Klein jean ads that Brooke Shields did back in maybe the 80s. Very kind of sensual type of ad. And those jeans in that time period, the tight jeans and all that. And so do we have that?
Yeah, StreamYard, the technology platform that we're
on.
Oh,
hold on. Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, we got to get that because the only way this works is for you to see it. But the controversy is that they use language in this American Eagle ad that sort of mixes in the word jeans, Jeans, which are the clothes, obviously, with the genes, the DNA genes, Genes. And they did some wordplay that was kind of controversial, basically saying that her genes were better, essentially, because of the fact that maybe just because they're her genes. I don't know. They're alluding to her blue eyes and characteristics that genes will will impact. And I just thought it was so funny because if you see the video, she talks about how the genes make her. What did she use the word? Make her butt look good. And
I got it up here.
Oh, you okay. A picture's worth 1,000 words.
Okay, let me give you guys a shot. So those of you who can see us, go ahead. So this is Sydney Sweeney, a white woman.
She has great genes. You saw the tagline.
Okay.
I don't know.
Can you guys hear that?
No, we can't. I can't.
All right.
I don't know if the audience can.
But hang on.
All right, stop it right there.
Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. We're gonna pause. Oh, okay? Hold on. So there's this part you want me to pause on?
Yeah,
I got you.
She said it makes her butt look great.
Wait a minute. Where's the butt? Oh my goodness.
The first question that comes to mind is she okay? Because she seems unhealthy, frankly. The second is what butt?
What? I'm like, this is a continuation of a back.
She got a long back. Oh my goodness. So now listen,
for those of y'all who can see this, I mean, are we might be men. I'm just saying, we got women co-hosts on here too. Are we? Is this? Are we not? What? I see why you said we have to see this.
No, you have to see it because you can't make this up. I can't even describe this to you. Long back is a great description, though. I got to admit, long back is as accurate a description as I've actually heard. But I just thought it was interesting that it brings up the conversation about what the beauty standards are in America, what we believe is beauty. And for so long, we as Black Americans have bought into the image of what white beauty looks like and what it is. And in my mind, this is just me. This is a personal opinion. She does not represent anything that's beautiful to me.
The co-host
DC Old Fly. It looks like she backed into a wall going 100 miles per hour. Lord help us.
Just flat. Yeah, it was like somebody said, you know, you look like you got just beat with a book bag in the back. Just like that's a slope. That is a vertical slope. So I mean, and look again, like you just said, there's different beauty standards, but what standard is this? The jeans don't even fit you. They're falling off you.
They look like they're about to fall off. They really do. That's what they look like. They'd like, if she stood still long enough, they'd probably slide down and you would see whatever is under there. Not much, apparently. But, all right.
Okay.
Now, juxtapose that.
Nothing against this woman. Oh, what I'm saying is, look, hey, look, if I do a chest commercial, hey, and y'all see, hey, wait a minute, brother, Sean ain't got no chest. I got to stand on that. If I do a hand commercial and y'all see, wait, why is his hands all wrinkled? I have to stand. It's a butt commercial. So, all right, that's what I'm saying. We're
Mrs. Kiki
okay.
Called it unleavened booty. It may be biblical. God,
it ain't
Lord,
got no yeast. It's no yeast in it. There's no yeast. Nothing has risen. Might not even.
Perhaps someone should let her in. That she can go to Miami, Dominican, or somewhere, and she can get help for her condition.
You just accept the way
she suffers from Nositol. Nositol.
You gotta know what calls you don't take. Home. You got to know what calls when your agent calls you and says, "Hey, I got a job for." You have to know yourself. No, that's not for me. What do you mean? It's a great opportunity. Listen,
that's not my ministry.
All right.
Now, can we pull up the Beyonce Levi ad and just sort of juxtapose this? And I didn't see it, but I heard it reported that Levi responded to this American Eagle ad in true pettiness and basically ran another. Oh, now wait a second. Can we back that up again? Yeah.
Well,
so this, if you don't know, Meraki, you are not right. I see what you're doing, Meraki. I see what you're doing. He put the Sweeney picture up, and then he put the Beyonce, and you can see, there's a bit of a difference. The Beyonce jeans actually look as if someone has them on. And I remember, oh my Lord, help me. And I'm not even like a Beyonce, I'm not trying to disrespect the oh my.
Yeah, shout out to Jay-Z.
Just shout out to Jay-Z. But she did do the commercial. I didn't film this commercial. So clearly they wanted us to see this. And I'm happy to be an observant, frankly.
I don't want listen, I don't want you I don't want any trouble in the Cheatham house.
Listen, my wife knows who she married.
She can acknowledge,
she knows who she married, and clearly.
But they understand when they put Beyonce in a commercial like this. They understand what she represents.
And so, I mean, if we were to take a little straw poll, who wore the jeans better? You ever see that? Who wore it better? You see them compared. We should do that between what's her name? Sydney, whatever the lady's name is, Sydney Sweeney. And Beyonce. Well, that's enough about jeans.
It looks like based on what we saw, it looks like her name should be Sweeney. It just matches. It just matches. I don't. She looks like.
I don't know. Sweeney. I just think. I personally think when I see it, I think Sydney Skinny. I don't know. That's what comes to my mind.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Who is she? But yeah, shout out to Beyonce. She is she's a phenomenal standard of Black excellence and Black beauty. I don't think anyone would deny that of any race.
Absolutely.
And you know, you just look, you put yourself out here to be talked about when you do stuff like this. So let's just be for real here. We're just the public, just telling you our thoughts. This ain't nothing but kitchen table talk. Why would y'all put this white girl in a butt commercial and she ain't got a butt? Don't take who approved that? This joint had to get through so many executives. You know who we should get? Sydney Sweeney. One person thought of it, told somebody. That person said, you know, all right, let me take a look at her. All right, she's good.
The people making those decisions probably all live with people who look like that.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You know,
that's a good point.
The bar is low. Where that one is.
The bar is low. The backs are flat. The backs are flat, and the bar is low. All right.
He said the backs are flat and the bar is low.
All right, let's. I think we stayed.
Let me mention this one first, just because this is just a real mention. I'm not a fan. I haven't always been a fan, but the activities of the last week led me to go and actually look up an episode of South Park. Now, I'm not a South Park fan. I don't know that I'd ever watched a full episode of it before this last week. But I'd heard all the hubbub because South Park, you know, they signed a $1.5 billion deal, 10-year deal last week. And, you know, that was all related to the whole Paramount merger that we had heard about that got Stephen Colbert roped into it and all that sort of thing. Folks, go out onto Hulu, wherever you get your episodes. If you got on demand, go to Comedy Central and find South Park season 27, episode number 1. If you listen, this is not a thing that I'm necessarily recommending, but if you enjoy edibles or something like that, you might want to do it before you watch this episode, because there is stuff in here that I don't know how they got away with it. You can see it playing here in the inset. That is the supposedly looks like.
Is that Trump and the devil?
Looks like Trump and the devil. I don't know.
I gotta watch.
And yeah, and they are, you know, they're blurring out stuff here. But if you see the actual episode, nothing is blurred. I can't even explain it to you. Really, go out. The little horn thing is that we talked about earlier is in full effect in this whole South Park episode. I cannot imagine that they're not going to get sued, but who knows? We'll see. But it's hilarious.
I got
so
some
you
good
need
watch.
to go find South Park episode, season 27, episode number 1, and it's only like 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes. It'll be well worth it. It will be well worth it. I promise you.
Mrs. Kiki said this is The Simpsons does this as well, so that's what it's giving me. It's giving me like Simpsons vibe, but South Park more gloves off type. Like, you know, South Park don't wear no gloves. Simpsons, they're on Fox, so they gotta, you know. So but that's two things that I want to watch this weekend based on 2 recommendations. I want to watch that, and then Get Black With Me asked had I seen The Manchurian Candidate, and I haven't. So I want to see that. Apparently,
Let me make one other recommendation for us, for our audience. You all know the name Ryan Coogler. He just came off the tremendous success of the movie Sinners. And of course, he did the Black Panther. He's done some of the Marvel stuff. So he's a very well-known director. And he actually produced a documentary close to my heart as a native of New Orleans. And we all remember what was it, 20 years ago now, the horror that was Hurricane Katrina. He did a documentary, so well done, 5 episodes. I believe it's National Geographic. You can find it on, that might be Hulu as well, and Disney Plus, I believe. But look it up. It's called Hurricane Katrina, A Race Against Time. Mm. And now it's one of those things that, like, when I was young, Roots came out and we watched Roots, and then we went to school the next day mad as I don't know what, trying to fight all the white folks because we were mad about what we had seen on Roots. I had a similar type of reaction to watching Hurricane Katrina. Mm. And if you had forgotten, you know, I think we tend to forget now, because talking about lowering the bar because of this administration, and how poorly they have operated, we have forgotten how bad George W. Bush was as a president. And in fact, we're longing for the days of George W. Bush. But when you see this documentary, you're going to realize how horrible a president he was. And the fact is that these people were really just neglected, completely neglected, treated like refugees and criminals because they couldn't get out of this tragic situation. Watch the documentary. It's going to tell you so many things. There's people that actually survived that are being interviewed throughout, and they go through the ordeal of what happened during Katrina. And I remember I was actually a radio host at the time, and I was actually on the phone with someone in the French Quarter, I believe it was, the morning that storm hit. And we got cut off, and we could never get contact with those people again, and found out, you know, what had happened. But it was a terrible time, and I found myself not wanting to watch it. I mean, it was a great documentary, but it gave me such a visceral a reaction to it, because, you know, the way those people were treated. So if you get some time this week, like I said, it's just 5 episodes. Hurricane Katrina, A Race Against Time. Excellent work that highlights one of the darkest episodes in American history. And so we ought to give Ryan Coogler his
shout out to Ryan Coogler
once again.
Yes, shout out to our brother Ryan Coogler.
Great piece of work.
Yes, just incredible. One of the brilliant creative minds of our time, young minds.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
So
shout out.
So we are actually, we did a pretty decent job. Well, we got through everything, which is great. But I wanted to spend a couple minutes here on the back end here. There are some things going on. As you all know, we talk about some stuff that's happening, but we also kind of allude to the fact that there are other things happening that we don't necessarily speak about a lot in this venue, or at least we don't devote a lot of time to it. But I think there's something on the horizon here that we should be aware of. My brother Deshaun is far more engaged in it and understanding of it than I am. But I want to give you, brother, a few minutes here at the end to just tell our audience, share our audience what is happening and what this time coming up over this weekend is all about. So if you know, I know you can get loquacious on the subject, but if we could just let people know what's happening, I know you want to share something with the audience. So,
well, absolutely. Well, this is how I wanted to end this week's show. We have a Saturday at sundown. we are going to have thousands of people, potentially tens of thousands, but certainly thousands out all around the nation, and some outside the globe, out feeding the homeless, feeding the poor, taking care of the oppressed, uplifting the oppressed, clothing the naked. And this started about a week and a half ago with a social media post concerning this prophecy. Many of you may not be aware, but the people who came on the transatlantic slave trade, the descendants of them, many of the people believe they are the tribe of Judah that was prophesied to go into slavery, into captivity in the Bible, and be restored after 400 years. And there's a prophecy that said that this group would actually keep this fast day, which is the fast of the 5th month. And that's not the 5th Gregorian calendar month. That's the 5th biblical month, according to the new moon, where, you know, some of you are aware, even if you're not totally aware of the biblical calendar, that the beginning of the year is April, not winter. So this is actually the 5th biblical month, and the 9th day starts at sunset on Saturday. So you're going to see thousands of people. What's interesting about this prophecy is that Zechariah said that the tribe of Judah would keep it in a feast. So that doesn't really make sense, because it's a fast of the fifth month, but then it's a feast. You don't feast when you're fasting. But what is actually happening is it's a feast for the poor. And the feast is for them. The feast is to go out into the neighborhoods, feed the poor, clothe the naked, and minister to the oppressed. And what the Father said, according to the prophecy, is he's going to show himself strong when they do that. When we do that this weekend, it said that he's going to, his presence is going to dwell with them continually from that point, because that's what he has always wanted from his children, is to actually go out and to, you know, it's all about the poor. It's all about the least of them. That's why when we see a group of people who claim to be Christians, yet they throw away the stranger, send out the stranger, you know, put the least of them in jail, don't care about then this is totally outside. We know this is a work of Satan, because it's totally opposite what the Messiah said we should be doing before he returns. So, so for those of you who want to participate, you just go out. It's if you want to not eat from sunset Saturday, if you want to do only water, if you want to do only meat, if you want to do, no meat, if you want to do fruits and vegetables, whatever you want to do. But it's much more important, according to Isaiah 58, what you do for others. It's not necessarily about what you eat or don't eat. It's about what others eat and drink from your hand. And so, you know, I will tell you to prepare for something, because everybody believes, or most people believe, that there is a shaking coming. There is some form of heaven's wrath coming to show, because there are people who say they're Jews. There are people who claim to be Jews, these chosen people who claim to be God's chosen people, who can't even stay in the sun in the land that they're saying they're from. So these people have claimed the identity of this tribe of Judah, and they keep this fast every year. They keep it in mourning. So they'll keep it in mourning. And at the same time, here in America, the tribe of Judah, who claims to be the real tribe of Judah, are going to keep it according to Zechariah and create a feast for the poor. So we believe that God is going to show something very, very serious over the weekend. And, you know, those who want to participate, just go out, take care of the oppressed for 24 hours, feed the poor. And when you see something happen that looks very, you know, just understand the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So.
Absolutely. And listen, I mean, this is something that we, as you point out, we as followers of Christ should probably be participating in uplifting the oppressed and feeding the hungry and you know, clothing the naked and visiting those in prison, which, you know, Jesus talked about in his time on earth. That's how you care for him, basically, is caring for the least of these. And so, yeah, I know that
two significant events happened, Curtis, on this day. One, the first temple of Solomon was burned by the Babylonians on this day. And then hundreds of years later, the temple of Herod was burned in 70 AD on this day. So there's been a couple events that happened specifically on this day. That's why those in the tribe of Judah are believing for something major to happen Saturday and Saturday into Sunday, and a major judgment. It could be a lot of death, could be plague, just something where it's gonna be like, whoa,
God's moving.
Yeah, God is moving.
Well, I'm going to confess that I don't claim, and Brother Deshaun and I have talked about this. I don't claim to grasp all of this, but I'm just going on common sense, thinking about it this way. There's little debate that most of the biblical characters probably look more like me and you than what we see in Israel today, right? And just follow along. If those people were scattered, the Hebrews at the time were scattered. Some of them ended up in Western Africa, right? Which is what we call now Western Africa. Yep. Some of those people were those tribes that it only stands to reason that some of those people that are in the part of the tribe of Judah were kind of caught up in this transatlantic slave trade and ended up somewhere over here in the Western Hemisphere. And some of us in this country are highly likely to have been descendants of those people. So the promises that Brother Deshaun has been speaking about and talking about as far as God holding this country accountable for stealing people and still having those stolen people in this country is, it's a logical straight line for me that you can follow. So I don't claim to understand all the way the implications of prophecy and all those sort of things, but just following a straight line and understanding common sense and what happened during the transatlantic slave trade, it is very likely, and if not almost probable, that many of the tribe of Judah, as I'll call it, is ended up here. Their descendants have ended up here in America, and America's going to need to be held accountable for that. And
they say they taught us the customs of God, but the men who took us as slaves are not circumcised, but most black men are. So if you look at the Bible, you look and see, okay, wait a minute. The remnants of the father's children would be circumcised because Moses told that Abraham had the covenant of circumcision. But wait, so those who say, well, the white man taught us about the Bible, just read it and you'll see the remnants of what we do, they don't do. The remnants of what Moses, Abraham, them did, the people of God did, we do naturally. They don't do. We go into their restaurants. God told us don't eat meat with the blood in it. So we go into their restaurants and we order a steak medium well or well done. They chef look at us like, well, you don't know how to eat no steak, boy.
Right.
You a joke? Come on, who ordering a well done steak? Got to be a black person. So if they taught us about a book that says don't eat meat with blood in it, then why would they eat meat with blood in it? So again, it's our book. The lie was, let's make them think it's our book so they don't read it to realize it's their book. So
when you read the Bible,
go ahead.
Know that you should know that most of the people they're talking about look like you.
You can't get to page 3 before you see Ethiopia and East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get to page 3. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. The setting of the Garden of Eden. Page 3, you see Ethiopia, East Africa. So again, he won his chit. He and again, now everybody can be received to God. But he's, I'm gonna wreck your land until you send my children up out of that land.
Yep.
I let you have them. You fine. They went against me. They served all types of weird gods, Babylonian systems, zodiac, horoscope, burning incense, sage, energy, all of these gods that looking at the stars. They did all of the stuff I told them not to do. Played the harlot, as the father said, continually played the harlot. But he said, hey, listen, as soon as I still want you back. I still want you back. Even though y'all turned on, I ain't did nothing wrong. All I did was take y'all out of slavery, bring y'all into a land of y'all own, give y'all a land, give y'all houses y'all didn't build, y'all dwelled in them, give y'all land, everything. I defeated your enemies before you. Y'all wasn't people of war, brought y'all out of Egypt, no weapons of war, did all of that for y'all. When y'all got into the land, y'all just start doing all these sacrifices to other gods, worshiping the sun, start doing all of this stuff. And I still want you back. And I still want you back. So again, now he's angry though.
Yeah.
Now he's angry because the 400-year grace period that's written that they say they believe, if they believe the scriptures, then after 400 years, they would have said, we got to get these people out of here. Because God said 400 years. Genesis 15:13. After 400 years, he said our judgment is here. And we ain't take no time. So anyway.
Our leadership has only read to the two Corinthians, apparently. They've only gotten that far through the book. Anyway,
thank you for that.
That's it for us today. I want to thank you all for joining us on This Week in Black America. We had a great time, as we often do here, and dealing with some subjects that sometimes can be a little heavy, but we try and deal with them in a way that lightens them up a little bit. We do want you to be aware of what's going on. We do want you to understand that everybody might not be looking out for our best interests. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for what's happening around you. And we'll be back next week to try and impart some more information to you. Happy first day of the month of August. It's getting hot out here. It's been hot out here. But be careful in them streets, folks, because there really are all types of things happening around us that you might not be able to understand, but watch. Be watchful, be prayerful, be in contact with the Father, and stay in community with each other. That's going to be one of our biggest weapons is staying in community with one another. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Appreciate my brother Deshaun, appreciate Meraki and Mick and the team for coming together and really producing an outstanding show. Hopefully you'll be able to join us again next week at 12 noon when we again go through the what's been going on in Black America, and we'll invite you to join us then on This Week in Black America. Thanks for joining us. We're out.